Hello everybody and welcome on today's video. Today I'd like to talk to you about maintenance and creating a good ramification on maple trees. So to start, we're going to work on this Japanese maple, and when you do pruning and pinching, you must first of all know what your goal is, what you want to achieve. So for example, in this particular case, these two trees must grow a little stronger than the others because I want them to fatten. So they already have a branch that will remain untouched for the coming season. It can grow at least for a meter, and there is one branch for the other tree here. So I'm not going to touch these. And now about the other trees. So this tree is a little bit of a problem because he's too thick to be on the second place in this composition, and well, it's a raft, so I cannot move it. So I cannot make it thinner either, so the only thing I can do is stop him a little from growing. So let's have a look at this particular branch here. You see that there is a shoot here and already two little leaves, and here you can see, I hope, the little sign where the internode will form. Just before that I'm going to cut back. So this is what they called soft pinching, because these shoots did not harden enough. And now the two leaves here, they will have a bud in the each leaf will have a bud here, so they will now start to ramificate. On this spot you can see the same: two new leaves, one new shoot, and I'm going to cut here because I want this to one branch becomes two and so on. Same here. I already told you that they call that soft pinching. That's because, well, it is possible to do it this way. We just pinch this, but I don't like this idea too much because I always think that I'm going to crush things, and with scissors you get a nice and clean cut. So this is what you do when you want ramification, and when you want to contain the tree from growing and probably get new budding. Because you cut off a few of the leaves, new buds, dormant buds will emerge. This tree is a raft. It means that all the plants are connected, and as you might see, the back part has already leaves, and the front is just starting to emerge the leaves. So this really is a little work that you have to do every day for a week or two, and you just have to check every day which branches can be cut. So you don't do this once and for all in a season. That's something that you have to keep an eye on. So for the last week I've been here every day for 10 minutes looking at the new shoots. And it is important to do this because if you do not do that, you will end up with monstrous internodes, and at the end of the season you will just have to cut back everything, and you will lose lots of time. This tree is a different story. It's field maple, and it's growing over a rock. That's why we have this strange construction here. I did a video on this tree few months ago. So what do we want to do here? Well, as you see, this is a branch which is going in the ground. It's forming roots, and this is an air layer and stuff like that. But the principle is exactly the same. So let's get a little closer. Again, it is essential to know what you want to obtain. For example, this branch is located at quite an interesting spot, but if I look at it, it's quite thin. Now if I start to cut it, well, it will stay thin, we will have more ramification, but it will still be a small branch. I don't want that, I want a big branch here. It will help to close this wound, so that's interesting. Maybe I will choose to keep this one and cut this one back later, but that's another problem. So the branch in the back is an interesting one too, because, well, it should thicken a little. So I'm letting this shoot grow freely to thicken the branch, and it will thicken just this part. And the other part can already begin a ramification. You see I have a small bud here. I made a little cut there, so now I have two branches, and I see that they are emerging new shoots too, so I can get these off, and one becomes two, two will become four, and so on and so on. The top of this tree I'm not going to touch, because I want to have a thicker top, of course, but this one already has a nice little side branch, which should become a little thicker, but not too much because it's in the top. But I think I just wait a little more, because I don't want a tree like this, like a field maple, to become one trunk and then just side branches, because that's the form of a conifer. I like more to have two tops, one here, and then build a round crown on this tree. So I'm going to wait for a few more days before I do anything here. This little Japanese maple is a completely different story. Again, it's just a very young tree. It's a cutting, I think he's 5 to 6 years old now. I just did some quite severe work on the roots, because the best root base is somewhere here. I gave this tree to my son. He's supposed to take care of it, but, well, sometimes it's a little difficult. So, what do we have here? Well, we have a fairly pleasing trunk line. And then we have one branch here that is thinner than this one, and that's not possible. I really want this to thicken, so I'm not doing anything, I'm letting this grow. As you can see, the internodes, if you let the branch grow, are becoming very long. This is one internode, and that's what you don't want when you start ramification, of course. So this branch is already okay, and I'm trying to work on the ramification here, but it is mainly to contain this branch from growing, because working on the ramification is something that you have to do as a whole. Because if you start working on the ramification here, this part will have lots of leaves and will become a very dominant part of the tree, which will attract a lot of sunlight, and this will thicken. So what you really want to do is contain it and cut it back. So getting lots of the new growth off, and always leave some green, because, well, sap should continue floating, of course, so that the tree can develop as one unity. It is even possible, if you want, next year to just remove these two branches and start with only the primary branching. like the other maple, I'd like to have one top here and the second top there. So this one is already starting to have a good size. There's a little bud here, a little bud on the other side. So when my son gets home, I'm going to tell him that he can cut off here, and I think he will be very pleased to do that. So the last tree I want to talk about is this field maple. Did a repotting video on this one a few weeks ago, and you see he's doing quite well. So this is the main trunk, and I'm trying to style it a little more in broom form. I have a quite bad wound here, so there's only one thing you can do is just let this top grow in order to have some callousing here. There are two buds. This one I might keep as a top, or the other one I don't know. It's just one should grow and the other can be contained a little. Here there's a little shoot. It's pointing in a completely bad direction, but I have a wound here, a big hole, and if I leave it here it will help callousing, so I'm going to leave it for a few more weeks here, then maybe cut it back. And the same goes for some of the other leader branches. Now, by cutting back all these new shoots, I've obtained new budding on this tree. So that's what you want. You want to have the ramification starting from here and develop the tree slowly. So this was not the most spectacular video I have ever made, and I just hope I made clear what I wanted to explain. You have to know where you're going with your tree, what branch should develop, what branch should start to have ramification, and work according to that. So I hope you liked it and that you found it a little interesting. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.